Morning, guys. Here to bring you your second part of your story, your ELA story for today. Fly, Eagle, Fly. Just a recap of the first part of the story. You got to remember that there was a farmer and a man that was in the market, and the farmer ended up taking in a eagle that he found out on a ledge of a mountain. Okay, and when he took it in, the man said, "That is not a chicken. That is an eagle." Because remember, the farmer raised the eagle amongst the chickens and said, "Well, it talks like a chicken, it walks like a chicken, it eats like a chicken. It must be a chicken." And every single time that the one man tried to prove that the farmer was wrong, well, the eagle did not act accordingly and he acted more like a chicken. So the man finally said, "All right, I'm tired of getting made fun of by all the townspeople." He woke up very early one morning and asked the farmer to bring his eagle with him. And that's where we left off. And we are on page 168 today, 168 of our story. We're going to finish reading the story today. Then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to present the question five, like we normally would do. The question five, I'm going to present to you either in a writing piece or if you're able to just answer it or take a picture on a sheet of paper, whatever way is the easiest for you. That's perfectly fine with me, okay? Just to make sure that I know you're understanding the story and the skills that we're working on. So we're on page 168. Ready? Okay. "Where are we going?" asked the farmer sleepily. "To the mountains where you found the bird." "And why at this ridiculous time of the night?" "So that our eagle may see the sun rise over the mountain and follow it into the sky where it belongs." Because remember, he said that the eagle is a member of the sky, not of the ground. They went into the valley and crossed the river, and the friend leading the way. The bird was very heavy and too large to carry comfortably, but the friend insisted on taking it himself. "Hurry," he said, "or the dawn will arrive before we do." Okay, the dawn is when that sun starts to rise up. The first light, the last paragraph on that page, the first light crept into the sky as they began to climb the mountain. Below them, they could see the river snaking like a long, thin ribbon through the golden grasslands, the forest and the veld stretching down towards the sea. The wispy clouds in the sky were pink at first and then began to shimmer with golden brilliance. So you can kind of picture what that kind of looks like. They're slowly climbing up a mountain. The sun is starting to slowly creep up from the horizon. That is that line where that sun slowly creeps up and eventually goes into the sky. Um, so where's the friend taking the eagle? Well, he's taking the eagle to the mountains where the farmer had found him, because he believes that if the eagle can eventually get back to where it was found, that it will eventually know that it is an eagle and know how to fly. All right, on page 169. Sometimes their path was dangerous as it clung to the side of the mountain, crossing narrow shelves of rock and taking them into dark crevices or little pits or holes and out again. They were both panting, especially the friend who was carrying the bird. Why were they panting? Climbing a mountain's probably pretty difficult. One was carrying extra weight of a bird while they were climbing, so he was probably extremely tired, extremely exhausted. On to page 170 and 171. Okay, 170, great illustration, nice picture there. You can see the farmer, you can see the friend, you can see the eagle. We're not sure if he's going to fly yet, so we're going to have to read on. All right, page 171. At last, he said, "This will do." He looked down the cliff and saw the ground thousands of feet below. They were very near the top. Carefully, the friend carried the bird onto the ledge of the rock. He set it down so that it looked toward the east and began talking to it. The farmer chuckled. It talks only chickens talk, the farmer said. But the friend talked on, telling the bird about the sun and how it gives life to the world and how it rains in the heavens and giving light to each one of us every single day. Look at the sun, Eagle, and when it rises, rise with it. You belong in the sky, not to the earth. At that moment, the sun's first rays shot out over the mountain, and suddenly the world was ablaze with light. Ablaze with light. I like that vocabulary. Ablaze means it was lit up with light. We're on that next paragraph where it says the golden sun. The golden sun rose majestically, dazzling them majestically, beautifully, wonderful. The great bird stretched out its wings to greet the sun and feel the life-giving warmth on its feathers. A lot of times you guys can kind of picture this when you walk outside after being indoors and you can feel that sun beat on your skin or your body or your shirt or your pants, whatever you're wearing, and you can feel that heat and it's like, that is a wonderful feeling. The farmer was quiet. The friend said, "You belong not to the earth, but to the sky. Fly, eagle, fly." He clambered back to the farmer. All was silent. Nothing was moving. The eagle's head stretched up, its wings stretched outwards, its legs leaned forward, and its claws clutched the rock. All right, kind of like what you can see in that picture on 170. And then, without really moving, feeling the updraft of the wind more powerful than any man or bird, the great eagle leaned forward and was swept upward, higher and higher and higher, and lost to sight in the brightness of the rising sun, never again to live among the chickens. So, the eagle, my friends, finally was able to fly again. Awesome. All right, so that is the end of our story. Again, quick read, okay? If you want to go back, you can watch part 1, all right, to talk you through the story, and here's part 2. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the think critically questions like we normally would every week, okay? We're on page 172. All right, so it says the author writes a folk tale, or this folk tale, about the journey of returning the eagle to the mountain. Have you ever read another folk tale about a journey? What was the setting or where did it take place? And then compare and contrast both characters. Well, you might not have read a folk tale recently or one that you might not know of, but I know of one, okay? And this folk tale is about my good old friend, well, not really my friend, but Johnny Appleseed. Anybody know Johnny Appleseed? All right, ask your parents if you're not sure who Johnny Appleseed is. Well, I read about Johnny Appleseed, and the setting of Johnny Appleseed is outdoors. In the setting of our story of Fly Eagle Fly, this folk tale is also outdoors. So that's what they have in common. However, Fly Eagle Fly looks like it takes place in, I guess you could say, Africa or in South America, someplace where people are openly walking around on farms and carrying their fruit in a basket and things like that from the illustrations. So I would say Africa. But Johnny Appleseed, well, that, my friends, is set right in your homeland, which is the United States of America. So some folk tales obviously have some things that are similar, okay, where you can compare them, tell them how they're similar, and then contrasting is how they are different. So these two are different because one takes place in Africa, the other one takes place, Johnny Appleseed, in the United States of America. Number 2, Fly, Eagle, Fly is a folk tale and has a lesson to it, and it's going to teach you that. What lesson do you think the author is trying to teach you? Well, it's kind of two-part lesson. All right. I think the lesson one that the author was trying to teach us was that we need to make sure that we can stand true and hold true to what facets or characteristics or things that we see in nature are the same, okay? And we can't really change those all the time. Um, think of the eagle, all right? The farmer said, well, I'm just going to raise them with my chickens. Well, you can't really do that because he's still an eagle. Nature has created him as an eagle, so he still has those really long talons or those claws. A really, really aggressive bird. A chicken is not really that aggressive. So preserve. It's kind of a fancy word for to make sure that we take care of. So preserve nature. And then the second part of the lesson, I think, is it's going to be about the friend. The friend who was saying to the farmer, listen, this is actually an eagle and it's not a chicken. And he constantly was made fun of or laughed at by the people. But in the end, did he ever give up? No, he never gave up. He stood true to what he believed in. Even though no one really understood what he was talking about, he stood true to what he believed in because he knew he was right. So, make sure when you're confident in yourself, it's okay. Even if not everyone has that as the right answer or doesn't believe you, if you're confident in your answer, you're willing to take chances. That's what we look for in a student every day. All right. Number 3, why do you think the eagle acted like a chicken? Well, that's an easy question. Okay, why do you think he acted like that? Think a little bit. What did the farmer do? He took him home and did what? He raised him with all the other chickens. So if I took you home and I raised you, let's say with a couple other kids, you're going to kind of start acting like them and know their rules. Same thing, okay? Same thing. If you took let's say you took an ostrich home and you wanted to raise him with the chickens. Yes, an ostrich is huge, okay, but he might still act like some of the chickens, might eat some of the chicken's food, might try to communicate using chicken talk, okay, so that's why the eagle acted like chickens because he was raised by a man that raised chickens. All right, we're going to skip number 4 and we're going to go on to number 5. It says, look back at pages 162 to 165. Write about why everyone thought the eagle was a chicken. Okay, why did everyone think that the eagle was a chicken? So if I go back to page 162 to 165, all right, I'm going to go through this, all right, and I'm going to kind of touch on some key points, but I might still ask you guys to comment in the comment section of this video of why you think everyone thought the eagle was a chicken. So I'm on page 162. It says, so the eagle lived among the chickens, learning their ways. His children called their friends to see the strange bird, for as it grew, living on bits and pieces put out for the chickens, it began to look quite different from the chickens they had never seen. So why did it start to be compared to an eagle be compared to a chicken, or why everyone thought an eagle was a chicken was because it lived among the chickens and started to learn their ways, learn how they acted. I'm going on to the next page. All right. If you look, what does the farmer say in page 164? It says, of course it's a chicken, second paragraph. Look, it walks like a chicken, it talks like a chicken, it eats like a chicken, and it thinks like a chicken. I'll repeat that one more time. It walks like a chicken, it talks like a chicken, it eats like a chicken, and it thinks like a chicken. Of course it's a chicken. So he gives 4 different ways of why people thought the eagle was a chicken. Okay? I might do something special for the first person that's able to comment, all right, on maybe those 4 ways in our comment section of this video. That's really paying attention to our story. So that is your story for this week. It's Fly, Eagle, Fly. All right, I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you finish your comprehension page of your comprehension skill page and your vocabulary sheet, okay, by the end of the week. On Friday, we're going to do our best to bring you a read aloud where there's no work to be assigned to you, which is great, but it's a read aloud of one of Mr. McQueen's favorite chapter books. Take care.